Just this
No, it was not fair. I think the rules started being you and Luke can't be on the same team. Oh, because he was going to play on our team and then he bailed because he's a jerk.
I love it. There's a reason why I keep spreadsheets.
Unless it's just a graph. Unless it's just a pie chart of Dante's one kill. It's like,
So you have
one.
6 different ones where you need to choose which one you like
I'm
the
not
best.
a There's something you said.
Hey everyone, just waiting on our guest to get back from the restroom. It's still not horizontal, despite me selecting horizontal. That's okay. It's for the book.
So one of them did. That's the person I did.
You're gonna get new ones.
Here you go. All right, all right. Well, I'm joined with Nazareth. How are you doing?
Doing great.
All right, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I still don't have it horizontal. It's my chagrin, despite me setting it as that.
It's
so
okay. No worries.
It's okay. We're both in the picture though. You'll see right here. There's a 30-second delay, but
Okay. Here.
yeah, I can also adjust the position too if need be.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, well, Nazareth. Well, first off, how you doing?
Doing great. Have a large time at the con this year.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you're gonna stay the whole time, or?
Yeah, I'll be here all weekend.
Okay, okay. So hey, where are you from?
I'm from Louisiana, northern Louisiana.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's quite the distance you've traveled.
Yeah. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I drove up. It was a fun trip.
First SimuCon or?
Second.
Okay, me too.
Yeah.
You were here last year?
Yeah, last year was my first SimuCon. I had a wonderful time. Met a lot of. It's great to meet people. Like you interact with these people on the internet, and you don't really know who they are nearly as much as once you spend a weekend hanging out, partying, and getting engaged in that face to face. It was. I made a lot of friends of people who were kind of casual acquaintances before. It was really fun.
That's awesome. Everyone seems really friendly, so that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So, how long have you been playing the game? You're a DragonRealms player, clearly.
Yes,
Greenland.
Yeah. I started playing DragonRealms back in 98, 99, roughly. Off and on through the years, more off than on, I suppose. And I kind of pop back in for a little while and then get distracted and go off somewhere else and then come back later when I get the itch.
I hear that's pretty common.
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you like St. Louis so far?
St. Louis is nice. I came here a couple of times when I was a kid. My families or my grandparents are big Cardinals fans, so they brought me when I was younger to come watch some baseball games, and I got a lot of fun memories of that. The Sheridan area, like this is like a really nice, convenient spot to have the con, and with all the amenities that we have.
Oh yeah, a lot of restaurants. And
right, yeah, all the fun stuff.
Yeah. All right. So you do anything other than SimuCon during your trip, or?
So, well, I'm here as a dual purpose. I'm a vendor, and I own a 3D printing company, so I brought my booth with me, and I have that set up for the con goers to be able to peruse and buy things and pick up some fan statues.
Okay. So is that your stuff over there?
It is. Yeah. Everything over there is all my setup.
All of it?
Yeah. So I worked in animation and video games and movies for about 15 years.
Would it be worth trying to capture it with the video for a second?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You want to come with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to get anybody else. I don't have their permission to
Yeah, no worries.
film them. So this is your little vending booth, huh?
Yeah. So most of the jewelry and stuff is my wife's things, but the 3D models and everything, most of those are my own original artworks. Some of them I've traded with other artists for, or I've just purchased on the internet and gotten license rights to. But it's like I said, I worked in animation and movies and games for a long time, and got into a point where I needed to do something where I wasn't traveling, like going to a studio in Singapore for 9 months and missing family life and everything. And it's just something I could do from home. And so I'm still traveling, but I'm only gone for like a weekend.
So these are all 3D printed designs?
Yep, everything you see is 3D printed.
Do you draw the designs yourself?
I do. Most of them are my own originals. Some of them, like I said, I've traded with other artists or purchased licensing rights.
Oh, we got knives. Okay. Anything you're most proud of?
So yes, the recumbent lion, which is this piece here. It's actually, so this is not a sculpture of mine. This is a real life sculpture. It's in Denmark, Copenhagen. I actually have all the details that I put on the bottom here of like what the specifics of where the statue was made and why it exists. You can look it up online. There's a whole backstory to these things. The guy who had these commissioned he has two of them, and they were supposed to be for his gravesite, but then he died in Africa and they never found his body. The statues ended up in a museum in Copenhagen. The cool part about this is that I'm working with some guys who are going around and scanning famous sculptures through the entire world, and where I'm making these available to purchase. And for everybody who buys one of these, they can pick a school, whatever school they want to, and I'll send that school one for free.
Okay.
So that way it's putting the art of the world in the hands of kids who would normally never go to Denmark, never get to see these things in real life.
That's awesome.
So that's been a really fun, engaging program that I'm really proud of to be able to get involved in.
Oh. My audience, they tend to like sexy female characters. So
I have them. Yeah, my audience too. So I'm right there with you. Probably the most famous of those would more likely be Rias Grimmery from High School DxD over on the bottom left of the shelf there.
All right. I get Link.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And then who's Lux?
Lux is a character. I used to work for a company called Riot Games. They make a video game called League of Legends.
Okay, I'm familiar with League, yeah.
So Lux is a character from that game. That's one of the skins that I worked on when I was working for the company. I also did Gwen and a couple of other characters, some different artwork pieces. It's a massive team collaborative process. So it's not like that's my original thing, but it's something that I did. Had a hand in kind of this being coming a reality. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, do you sell them online too? If anyone wants to.
Yeah. You can go to my website. It's bombard3d.com. And I have an Etsy shop. It's horribly kept up, but you can also email me, and I'm happy to get stuff made for you.
Cool. All right. Well, let's continue.
Yeah.
And this is a different vendor.
Yes, that's
Okay.
Ben. And this is also a different vendor. And that's his. Her character name is Fig. I'm not sure what her real name is. Oh, Laura.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. All right. So you vended last year too, or?
I did. That was kind of the whole setup. Is that I brought my vending booth for people to check things out, and I also host it's a paint and sip. So I made a 3D model, and people can purchase it, and then we're going to all sit around and paint it, and then listen to music and drink and have fun.
Tonight?
Yep, that happens tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, is it free?
There's a ticketing process. You can talk to Nora. They have some extras available, I believe, if you want to get involved. I think it's $50.
I probably won't, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe chat will yell at me and be like, "You have to do it, Tachyon." And
Yeah,
we'll see.
and you stream the whole thing.
Well, if people are okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, tell me about your character.
My character's name is Nazarus. I actually have used that character name in every game I have ever played since AOL days, back when I was a teenager. He's a warrior mage. He always thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and will typically let people know that he is the smartest person in the room. Often is wrong in a lot of the tangents and viewpoints that he kind of goes down, but it's fun to see where those things end up, right? And how like being wrong can lead to some really interesting and fascinating role play.
So you role play your character purposely as someone who
Yes.
is very kind of stuck up a little bit.
Yeah, well, see, he's an elf, so he's got that kind of casual racism, egotistical side of him. For the people who play DragonRealms, mountain elves, it's a certain flavor, and they are extra like manipulative and haughty and down looking on everybody else. So he's very much has that side of him. He was his backstory is raised in a different area, but it's sort of that nature versus nurture philosophy, and how much of this is ingrained, how much of this is taught. And so it's like he normally doesn't have it, but there are moments when it will kind of pop out, right, and sort of take over in the persona.
Well, maybe it'll pop out in this interview. We'll see, huh?
I don't know about that. I try to be as chill as I can in real life.
All right. What do you think of the text-based gameplay?
So DragonRealms and by extension GemStone, the entire MUD or multi-user dungeon system, it's kind of fascinating, right? So I'm an avid reader, always have been, we throw this around all the time, but there's a kind of this like viewing the Matrix, right, where you don't really see the words anymore after a while, and you can just kind of roll with the story, and you kind of pick up on the key bits, and you just kind of run with it. That part, once you get past the fact that there are no images other than what you create in your head, people always say the book is better than the movie, and that's also true in this game. And then you add to that the role play component, where you're not required to role play, but you can at least like talk about the Super Bowl and be like blatantly out of character enough to not break immersion for everybody around you. But you can really get into it, and you have a lot of fun like creating these personas. It's like playing D&D with friends in a persistent online world. And then the third part of the whole system are the mechanics. So the mechanical abilities of the things that you can do in this game, and things that you're capable of having agency in, are unlike anything you will ever find in any visual game that's ever been made. Like ever. It's crazy. So in this game, you can actually there can be plot lines where if you're playing games like World of Warcraft or other big AAA titles, you're going to get to see this amazing story, and maybe you're going to go fight a raid boss, and then your reward is you get to watch the event unfold. In DragonRealms, you're part of the whole event. So the choices you make and the things that you do actually influence the entire outcome, because the community and the game population is small enough that the players can be given a certain amount of agency and pursuing where all the narrative goes for everybody. So we have like in DragonRealms, we have this big thing going right now. And right now, it's magic is going crazy, and
Yeah, I heard.
and it's like universally bad. I mean, like this is like a major thing for the whole world. It's like if gravity shut off.
Hey,
Skip.
good. Doing an interview right now. Ada
Sal.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
So just heads up, you're on live stream. Wave at the camera if you want. It's a 30-second delay, so
I see.
All right.
I'll interview you if you want later.
You should. Skippy's the head boss of everything.
Oh, well, definitely should then.
Yeah. So wild magic it's like this whole like if gravity stopped working all of a sudden, like or electricity stopped working, it's a big deal for the in game, and so a lot of fun interactions and role play and is happening because and you're starting to see like a lot of players who normally are more kind of in the background are stepping forward to help drive the narrative, and it's creating all these fascinating like spotlights of interaction between in the player base.
So what are you doing to restore magic, or is that your goal?
So that's not actually my character has this amoral lust for power. He a long time ago there were certain abilities that we had that were taken away out of the game, and he had those and was very much involved in that. And then when he lost it, he like kind of went a little left with like I have to get back to the status quo, and he's been chasing that demon for metaphorical demon in this case. He's been chasing his metaphorical demons for a long time. And he's wrong about how he thinks he can get back there in terms of how the universe works. But it's a material, right? And that's kind of like that flawed character is what's driving his narrative. So he is in his egotistical hubris trying to summon the effects of in the Greek mythology a Titan, which is like the god of the gods. So he's trying to get one of these god of the gods to show up, and like he wants to like tell me what's going on, and like give me answers, and sort of that entitlement. And it's going to be very interesting to see what is left of him if that does even happen.
Interesting. Okay, so do you see? Well, obviously this is an ongoing storyline.
Yeah.
Don't want to spoil too much. What are your predictions though for Mr. Nazareth? Where's he going to end up? Do you think is he going to?
I don't know where my character may end up locked out of magic. Like I don't know because that's the heralds are the guardians of magic, so that may be a thing. If that happens, I'm okay with it. I'm going to run with that. Like it's going to be a massive. That's like a huge part of the whole character's existence, and that'd be massive. But there's a lot of opportunity for that, right?
Well, a lot of opportunity for growth, perhaps. Even.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's chasing that flawed character archetype of they're like not being right and not being perfect, but having something interesting to. It's almost like with when you're doing improv. And the whole yes and system. It's like when you have somebody who is not like I just have to be the best or I have to be the hero of the story, and he doesn't necessarily have to be the hero. He can be the heel if that's what it calls for, and that's fine.
Yeah, well, I like that you have a lot of freedom with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part. It's like when you aim for imperfect, it opens up everything for you.
So how do you see the magic situation being resolved?
So here's my I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm right or not, but we'll find out. My crazy theory is that this entire thing I don't want to get too bogged down in the lore or in the game mechanics.
You can if you want to. It's up to you.
So their magic is divided into like 4 quadrants, and it's called mana theory. It's like how like this whole system works. And there's 4 types of mana. There's lunar, holy, elemental, and life. So lunar and holy are kind of the metaphysical. What if they're not grounded in reality? So like the divine, holy mana is for the divine. Gods aren't tangible beings, but they exist. And there's like a persona, and there's like so that's metaphysics. Lunar mana involves laws of reality, so like gravity and thermodynamics. In this case, prediction. And sort of like telling the future and playing with all that. So these things aren't tangible. Whereas life is about like either manipulating life or recreating that sort of the aspects of life, which is living organisms are very grounded. And then elementalism is all about air, earth, fire, and water. So that's like your building blocks of everything. So whatever's doing this bad stuff. They don't care about the lunar or the holy, which is the metaphysical stuff. They're channeling the life and the mana somewhere outside of our reality. So they're taking the building blocks of what it takes to make our reality, and they're taking them somewhere else to do what? I think they're building another reality. I think they're building their own plane of abiding or their own planar existence. And I think that we're going to end up having access to that.
Oh,
Like that's what this is. So it's building a whole another, like a multiverse almost.
okay.
And so there's going to be portals. And then in this whole new multiverse, there's no existing historical lore that the development gets tied to. So they can go, it's like their own sandbox, make whatever you want, that the current development team can really play and sort of make their own rules, and they don't have to worry about that we have this mythos of characters and personas and history that came before that the players can sometimes have feelings about. Like, well, there's the whole Gorbish War, and you're forgetting about that when you're making this new thing. And it's like, well, no, now we have this whole area of there's no ties. So it's again,
So it's a fresh start for
it's a
everyone.
fresh it's a fresh start for everybody.
Well, that's your theory, though.
But
right?
this is all my tinfoil
All right,
hat.
let's do it.
It's a
Let's hear it.
whole
Very
long story.
cracking
So
cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, so we don't know why they're creating this other world.
Well, we don't
in the
know.
game.
We don't know if what they're doing with the mana. That's just, again, we have no idea. We know that it's getting siphoned off, and we know that our magic is flawed, and we have been told, whether or not it's true or not, we've been told that certain actors are like the heralds are involved, and some of the immortals are involved, some of the god beings are involved, and then some other things are involved. But is that true? We don't know.
I'm still not sure if I should take questions from the chat or not at all.
Sure.
We do have JT Vega and Dragon Claw Maker Studio. Hello, everyone. JT asks, you hope to summon a goddess in order to save the realms?
So the heralds are what they're called, and the heralds are the guardians of magic system. They have shown up in history, like when the mortals have gotten to a point where they're fixed to break things. They're like, no, stop doing that, and swatted them down or just blew them up. Like they show up.
The moon.
Dragon moon? So that was the whole dragon thing, but why the dragon hatched out of the moon? Maybe.
Okay.
We don't know, right? So, but we know that the heralds are more powerful than the pantheon of gods and goddesses, right? They have a higher agency than they do. So that's kind of where it's like, so it's like summoning a titan, like a literal the boss's boss, to be like, I want to talk to your supervisor. What's going on with my magic?
So role playing, obviously, it's a big part of the game. Big
Sure.
part of your character.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so it's all text based. Can you walk us through a little bit? Let's say we're role playing right now.
Yeah.
How would this play out?
So let's say that you're hosting an event. You're doing a fact finding event. You're trying to we'll say you're a reporter for the newspaper in the game, and you're like, I want to get the theories of everything and whatnot. So in typical hero or cult of personality fashion, you have an entrance. You have people would sort of engage back and forth and sort of help set the scene. And it becomes a bit from an outside perspective, it looks a little egotistical that we're like cloaked in shadows walking through the door, but it's more about like it's informative. Like, this is the persona that we are portraying. Now you know who we are. Where it's like setting the stage with the actors who can identify themselves, and let's go with this. And then so play with it from there. You would have whoever the host or MC, if there is one, would go through and like, all right, here's what's going on, and then people would start kind of just ad-libbing and then working off of each other, and it becomes very much a whole bit of improv for the players to sort of bounce off of each other and yes and so forth.
Do you use voice at all for the role play, or is it all text, or does it depend?
So the game happens strictly in text. Now, there are, we use third-party programs like Discord, and we can have, voice chat. None of that stuff is considered to be part of the game, so none of that's just more for the players to communicate things and set things up, and that's it.
So that wouldn't be taken into account?
Absolutely not. There's actually the community has strict rules or guidelines, I suppose, of what's in character versus what is out of character information. Much like when we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're
right. Yes.
You might know how the entire pantheon of divinity works.
But does your character know it? Don't metagame, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all about metagaming. So
yeah.
We try very hard not to metagame, or at least hey guys, make sure you're not metagaming.
Okay.
Right? So that's a big part of it.
So do you do player versus play at all?
I have in the past, not lately, but it depends. So because I take so many breaks, I've fallen behind the curve to address the point of I don't have enough I don't feel like I'm going to be keeping up with everybody else in that sphere. and I'm more focused on when I have time. When I'm actually like doing things that are like advancing, I'm more focused on the advancement to get caught back up than I am with those interactions. No, but they're fantastic, and I encourage everybody to do it. It's super fun.
You do scripting at all?
I do. I write my own scripts.
Oh, okay. What kind of scripts do you write? Like, what's this process like?
So a script is more. It's just an automation system, right? If you look at this, and this is going to get a little technical and code based, right? But the game is a series of conditionals and like results driven. If you do this, then this happens, and the text dialogue is static. So if I swing my sword, I'm going to have a certain amount of certain options of text, followed by a round time number, and all that stuff is in the text. So I can trigger like so the script to recognize that it sees the round time as like I have committed the action. It knows I've done it, and then it steps to the next point in the code. So it follows that recipe of automation based upon the triggers that occur in the game. And then you just like, so okay, what are the possibilities of what can happen? Then I need to account for each of those to make my character do what I want it to do.
Okay. So, what do you think of the future of the game? We just talked about your theory about
Sure.
about the other world,
So,
but also, well, you can answer two ways, I guess, right? You can answer what do you think of the future of the game in terms of like the real life game itself,
yeah.
and how do you think of where it's going to grow? But you can answer either order you want. Doesn't
No,
matter to
so
me.
speaking to the technology side of things and the development side of things, and having worked a little bit in game dev myself, on the art side, so it's mostly osmosis information to be clear. But the advent of ChatGPT, I think, is going to be a major factor for how these things are the iterative design process. So the ability to quickly and rapidly come up with a full story of dialogue and to be able to do that sort of rapid iteration of creation is going to make a lot of the stuff start to pop a lot more and increase the dynamic. Not everybody's a novelist, right?
Right, sure.
There are people who love to play the game who type kind of slow, or or they're just not they're not affluent in grammar or whatever the case may be. And so for them, having this tool that they can lean on is going to help to produce a lot more fascinating organic development inside the game itself.
So you think they're going to utilize AI? So, for instance, like if you're talking to a character,
Yeah.
it'll give you not just a scripted response, but rather a AI generated response.
I think that the players and the game masters are going to use AI to drive the creation of the content that they are producing. Much like a dungeon master is going to go, instead of creating a module, here's the module you want to play. It's already built for you. You can just go buy it. That's kind of the same thing. You just type in like I'm working on a new spell, and it's going to be for elementalists, and I want it to be fire, and I want it to be like an area of effect thing, and then ChatGPT will start spitting out options, and you go like, I like this one, and then it'll polish it. And so what would have taken you maybe a week of thinking about it, you've just done in 20 minutes.
Are you concerned that, or maybe not just concerned, but that because of AI? So, for instance, if I whipped out my phone, which is over there, and I used ChatGPT, I could ask it, "Hey, let's role play. I'm a warlock walking through a swamp. What do I see?" And it'll give me an answer.
Sure, absolutely.
So, do you see that being competitive with MUDs at all, or a different kind of demographic? Or
I don't see that being so. The ChatGPT is a tool, and it is a wonderful whiteboarding tool to get you a springboard of inspiration, but it is not a product creator. It's that human element is still going to be the deciding factor, and you deal with this in animation as well. Because there's automation systems in animation that have been for decades now.
Sure.
But they only get you so far. Like working on Finding Nemo, we tried to build a modular animator for seaweed.
You worked on Finding Nemo?
I did, but it never looked right. Like we could never get like these algorithms to produce it. So we ended up having to scrap the entire thing we built and go in and do it by hand, because that was the only way to get that illusion of life. Which is that's like the system that was developed by Disney and the original animators, Ollie Johnson, Frank Thomas, and those guys. But to get that to where like you get an emotive response. Remember, like art in its entirety is all about storytelling, and this is like the most condensed, distilled storytelling there is of this interactive fiction that we all create together.
So, are you okay talking about your work with animation and movies? You don't have to. You're just saying. We are live, so don't worry about it.
No. I don't really skip over that bit.
Yeah,
I don't mind talking that I've worked in the industry, but I don't want to start bringing up
totally
specific
cool
titles and things. I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. I'm pretty secretive myself a little bit, so I understand because live streaming you got to be a little bit
For sure.
crazy people out there.
Oh yeah, I have my own IMDb page. People can figure out like all that stuff. So.
Any wild stories from the game?
Yes.
Oh, all right, let's hear it.
No.
No? All right.
If you want to find so there's been some crazy stuff. I have things that happened 20 years ago that I still tell people about.
But not me.
But if you want to find out about them, log in.
Okay, maybe I will at some point.
Right on.
Maybe this weekend.
Hey, we're all here.
All right. Well, any wild stories from SimuCon last year or this year?
Honestly, it's just the eye-opening experience of chatting with people and learning about the personas behind the characters that I've been interacting with over the years. And like, we tend to project our own concept of personality with the people we interact with. So if I'm playing again, we're playing this whole thing with you, and you're this news reporter, and I only interact with you in the game. Maybe you come across as sort of cold and arrogant, and
Well, I am that way, so it works.
Well, sure, right, exactly. That's why I was using it as a real life example. And then I come here and I meet you, and it turns out you're exactly that's what I was right. No, or maybe you're different. Maybe you're a completely different person. But then it helps to like meeting people in the real world helps to separate that sense of ego of the other interactor. You start to really be able to say, no, this is just role play versus this guy really doesn't like me, or this guy's really kind of a jerk, or this lady is really mean, or whatever the case may be. So like everybody I've met here is fantastic. Everybody here is super wonderful, super nice,
Yeah, same here.
engaging, warm, and it's just been a wonderful experience. Honestly, I really want everybody that plays these games, like all the other players that are out there now, to come. Just so that they can be like, oh, actually, Naz is not this nasally entitled. He's actually a really nice guy, maybe. I don't know. So, right, I mean,
Maybe.
I made a lot of friends who thought lowly of my character and were projecting that onto me, the person, because of it.
Have there been any moments where you're like, wow, this person's completely different in real life?
Yes, several.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's see. Ruea is one.
I've interviewed her.
Yeah, that's the person we talked to.
First person, yeah.
She is a delight to be around.
She was super nice, super
fun,
awesome.
super funny, very outgoing, very different from the character that she plays in the game. You'll meet him at some point. Madigan is the exact person he is in the game. He's that sort of gruff, like, give me my coffee. It's got to be black. Where are we going today? All right, boys, let's saddle up and take care of business. Like, he's that sort of that hero type. And he's like that in real life too. It's great.
So he's the one who's going to save us all if this place catches on fire or some sort of horrible tragedy?
Well, he's usually wrong as well.
Oh.
So
Maybe not.
I don't think he does a great. I don't want to say that he does a great job at playing a flawed character because I don't think he's intentionally playing a flawed character. I think he's just a flawed character.
Oh, okay. Well,
but he's wonderful to see, and it's that he's the most stable personality that I've seen in the game. You always know where you're going. Like, I don't need to know. I don't have to interact. I can just know what he's going to do based on what I plan on doing.
So
that's wonderful.
I like that it's a tight knit enough of a community that you all know most of the players at least, right. And then you're able to like predict how they're going to respond to certain things just based on your knowledge.
And that can help inform. Like you kind of plan out a little bit a structure of some role play that you plan on doing, and if you get certain people involved, you know where it's going to go, and that can sort of. Okay, so I can work more on this path versus that path. This is probably where we're going to end up.
Well,
it doesn't always work that way. But
speaking of knowing where things are going to end up, have you done the erotic role play?
No comment.
Okay, all right. Do you want to talk about your political views or philosophy?
No comment.
Okay. Any thoughts on the election?
No comment.
Okay. What about the Ukraine war or Israel-Palestine?
No comment.
Okay, all right. Any other MUDs you play?
Nope. This is the only one I've ever played. I tried GemStone for like 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, so have I. So.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to approach it as an outsider.
For sure.
You all have your own stories, and any other video games you play?
Yes, all of the above. I've been a gamer from the Atari 2600 to today.
Okay.
So I've gone through the consoles, the Nintendo games, getting into the 3D side of things, and then getting into the online communities, and like playing all of good lord, all of them, most of them, a lot of the MMOs. I'm not as prolific in the titles of these days, but I still like Baldur's Gate 3 and No Man's Sky. And the Final Fantasy expansion just dropped, so I'm playing around with that.
Oh, you play 14.
Not a lot. So I got into it very recently, and then found out there's a new expansion, and I haven't even hit the new expansion content yet. So I'm still very kind of new in that whole bit. But it's I played 7. I loved 7. Everybody loves 7, and it's been a lot of fun to play and kind of get back into that Final Fantasy thematic. It's been a lot of enjoyment.
So what do you play? What class in 14? I guess you can play as any because they're all the characters are universal.
I have
but
all of them kind of built into one. It's one of the caster types. Summoner. I've been playing around with Summoner more than anything else.
okay, I'm a white mage.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I haven't played in a little bit though because I've been doing political live streams and stuff. That's my main focus. That and my Gamergate project. I'm researching that. Researching the history of it, interviewing people on both sides. Kind of like this actually. So yeah.
I remember Gamergate. That was the thing.
What are your thoughts?
I think that the truth is rarely ever known by anybody aside from the parties involved.
Okay.
I think that you have prepared information that gets put out by whoever, or everybody kind of has their own agenda that they're trying to push or influence or whatnot. And reality is very different from what mainstream knows or
I would agree. I wouldn't say you had to have been there. Like that's something that a lot of people say, like, oh, you had to have been there, you know. But I think there are a couple of people
in the room involved in everything.
There are a couple of people I thought have done like a decent job from like an outsider's perspective,
Sure.
But it's rare. It's almost entirely the people, you know.
Well, I mean, the worst kind of evidence in a court case is as people. Like trying to remember.
Well, people's memories are terrible.
It's awful.
They also have their own interests. And
if you ever play telephone, you know this. Like, this whole thing. So, like, getting the reality of what happened almost never occurs in any of this stuff. Any sort of drama or any sort of televised, mess.
Yeah, I've interviewed over 70 people involved. I was actually supposed to be interviewing Milo Yiannopoulos on Monday, but he never showed up.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. No great loss, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it would have been an interesting interview. It would have been fun.
Have you found out about some of our celebrities?
With your celebrities, tell me.
You ever heard of Martin Shkreli?
Oh yeah, well he's the CEO of the company that raised the price of the insulin drugs.
He was a D&D or DragonRealms player. For
Really?
Yeah.
Does he come to these conventions? Or used to?
I don't. He's no longer in this community. I don't know.
Yeah. People don't like him anymore.
I was not as involved, so this is a lot of hearsay. The understanding that I have is that the personality that he was in the real life is very similar to the personality that he was in the game. People picked up on that, and there was not a lot of endearment.
I see.
But again, that's very
people,
much
like you said.
I'm caveating that. That's very telephone. I was not there, and I don't have first-hand perspective of interaction with that man, other than like a couple of casual hi whatevers, like being in the same room, but not necessarily knowing.
Hi.
Oh, you're.
Oh. Thank you for letting me know. I guess. No, it's okay. It's okay. Oh. It's okay. It's not broken. We're good. We're even still live.
There have been a lot of rumors about other famous people that may have played the game. You get that in any kind of MMO.
Oh yeah. Well, like Nathan Fillion being like a big Halo player. I think he actually is though. He actually is. Yeah. Felicia Day sent in I don't know if she sent it in, but there was a signed autograph that she sent in that someone sent in. That was one of the giveaway gifts last year. I think it was for GemStone. It might have been for DragonRealms because they had different ones. Remember?
Felicia Day signed it.
Yeah, but I don't know if like somebody bought it and then like, or if she like donated it. But she doesn't play. I don't think.
I would not be surprised to learn that she has dabbled in it in the past. I would be surprised if she still did, but who knows?
Okay.
I know. So you've heard of Riot Games? We talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
One of the founders of Riot Games did play DragonRealms.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, what's his name? Do you know?
He was a moon mage. I don't remember what his name was offhand, but if you go to like the wikis, it's all on the internet. You can find it. He talked about it in an interview.
Oh, well, see, so it's kind of cool that like you have all these people who the game's been going for so long, for decades. So you have people who they played it 20 years ago, and they're part of that history
Sure,
and mythos
absolutely.
of the world.
Right.
But then they like stepped away, and we're still talking about them, which is
No, that's it's you're absolutely right. There's famous faces from the past that grew into like this sort of larger than life persona that everybody still talks about. There was a famous one of the original weaponsmiths, Mendacity. He was like a well-known player, kind of higher up back when we were all really getting into it, and like owning one of the weapons that he made is like this huge thing, and so like his massive collectors just because of who he was 20 years ago, right? And they're not special. There's not like they're like not mechanically. They're actually inferior to anything, but people just want that item
because of the
who he
history.
was, because of the history. Right.
So
Absolutely.
will like the item tell you like this was owned by this
If
person?
you look, yes, if you look at the item, let's say it was who the crafter's mark is on it, so like it says forged by Mendacity.
Okay. Any other hobbies or interests?
Well, I mean, besides the 3D stuff that I do, I have a 9-year-old daughter named Leia who takes up most of my free time. Huge Star Wars fan, obviously, and
Well, do you want to talk about Star Wars?
I could. That's the whole interview.
We can. I'll put limits on it. We won't go more than like 10 minutes. Okay.
All right. So I've been to Skywalker Ranch.
When you've been?
Yeah, I've been.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I had an opportunity to work on episode 9, but I had to turn it down. It conflict of schedules, and I had to go to Island, Singapore, for a long time by myself. So it was this whole thing. But yeah, no, like so Star Wars sort of inspired my desire to work in the film industry. George Lucas's ability to craft a sandbox has never been reached by anybody else in the history of movies.
No.
Yeah, the Star Wars universe itself is one of the most amazingly robust, diverse. Anything and everything is out there to be found, like that I've ever seen. Like the world building that man went through for the whole thing, and how much of that was that translated into the original movies. Of there's always stuff going on to the left, to the right, just off of the main action. That you're like, well, who are these people? And you never know. Like just like Boba Fett was just.
Oh no, don't worry. They're gonna get their own action figures and comics and stuff.
Yeah, no. Well, marketing brilliance by that. No, I don't want any money. I just want the rights to make all the toys. Yes, please. I mean, that was great. But no, like the whole fact that it wasn't just centered on these characters, but they were in a living, breathing world, and he was the first to really do that in film.
He did a fantastic job. What's the best Star Wars movie?
The one that hasn't come out yet.
Well, are they working on a new one?
Yes.
Oh, but it's not like 10. It's
They have
spin-off.
several things coming, but the answer to your question is that it's the movie you haven't seen yet.
Okay, inside knowledge, huh?
Right. Well, no, it's a philosophy.
Okay.
You've already seen the other ones. You know what's there. It's the next one coming.
Well, which one's your personal favorite of the ones you've seen so far?
I really enjoyed Rogue One. Revenge of the Sith on its own. Episode 3 was great. Star Wars Holiday Celebration was fantastic. That was like
Wait, not. I mean, hey, to each their own, you know.
Yeah, right. Lifetime was so good. I don't know what everybody's problem is. No, I mean they're each so different.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Oh, my thing's off.
Thanks for letting us know, by the way, Deb.
There we go.
Can you hear us? Let's see, there's a delay.
Yeah. My light was off, so I assume it was powered down.
I think when it fell, I think it disconnected them
maybe.
both.
Well, so we just had
So
this
we're-
whole
we're-
dialogue about Star Wars. It's probably just best
Yeah.
left off the internet. To be honest.
Well, we missed this whole great discussion, chat. Sorry. It's back. Okay, cool. Chat's saying we're back.
All right, fantastic.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to say about Star Wars that will be on the record?
You have to remember that everything has a positive side to it, and take away what you enjoyed, and just don't worry about the rest.
Okay. That's a good positive attitude to have, actually.
Yeah.
So do you? Well, let's ask then. Because I interviewed somebody for the GamerGate project, Game Diviner. He's of the view that the intellectual property owners themselves, that they don't necessarily, that they leave the legal say of what a product is like, what a work of art is like.
Sure.
They own the rights.
Yeah.
But he believes that if you are going to take on that role of being the creator, let's say you buy a property or you get licensed the right to make a video game set in Star Wars universe or whatever, right? He thinks that you should try to take into account like what the original creators had done, and then also try to take into account like what the fans have done, and try to honor that rather than try to create your own work within it. That's what his view is. I don't say I'm agree with that.
I would twist that a little bit, and that the biggest part of that, and this is you've heard this before, I'm sure. Once you have created something and you release it into the world, it's not yours anymore. So right, yeah, the death of the author is really the biggest point there, and it's hard to, when you have to resurrect that author to come back and do something new, then all of a sudden it becomes this morass. Like, I don't have any ill will towards J.J. Abrams and crew for the things that they were doing. I think that there were some mistakes made in decision process. I think that there were some structural, like, maybe there should have been a little bit more control, and like maybe Rian Johnson shouldn't have been allowed to subvert so many expectations, which I love his Knives Out movies. Star Wars is not really the place for that. And that's, again, just like nodding to the honoring what the fans have created, you know.
It's a lot of work to get on your phone setup.
Fair enough.
There you go. Okay, cool. Jake, Vegas says audio is not working. We should be back now. Let me know if there's audio issues. Now it works. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, do you want to sign in, my friend? Just you put your real name, your player name, whatever you want, and then if you want me to tag you on like Twitter or Blue Sky or anything else, you put your social.
Okay, I'm good. I actually don't have any social media accounts. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, nice to meet you. And what's your name, my friend?
I'm Mazrian.
Mazmian?
Mazrian, yeah.
Mazrian,
that's my character name. So.
And you are a DragonRealms player, my friend.
Yes.
All right. Why the green lanyard over the blue lanyard?
I actually have no idea. They had to be a badge, and this is what I got. And
Okay. How long have you been playing?
oh man, longer than I haven't been playing. So I think it's been 25 years or so, 26 years. And I started because a friend of mine was playing back on AOL. And then I just kind of kept with it.
Because it fell again. That's probably every time it falls, we lose audio, and my phones are going to break at some point. Okay, friend, I think it fell again.
That was not me this
No,
time. I
it's
hope.
okay.
What about
Pressed on your button, it probably disconnected it whenever it fell. If the green light's on, oh, it's here on the very back. If you just press and hold, the light should turn green. Yep. Okay. All right, we good now? All right, cool. That should be a lot more stable too. Okay, I do apologize.
No
Where
problem.
were you at?
I think we just covered where am I from, what am I doing here.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and shut down the stream so we can charge the mics, and then should be good. Okay. About 30 minutes to an hour.